Hello and welcome to the next episode of this series, which is all about this Lego room and of course my life. Now this has turned into a bit of a mini series. We've done quite a lot in the last few rather lengthy uploads, but I will run you through everything that we've done to play catch up, and then obviously you want to go and watch the misery of me dropping bits and pieces, hunt them down in that playlist, and then I'll explain what we're going to try and achieve today. So we have done all of this. I think this is now starting to look like a proper theme park zone. So obviously this is all our sort of a Marvel-y base bits and pieces, and then we've added in the Ghostbusters down here. I've started to put in all the townhouses down on this bit, so I think that does look very smart. And then we're going to make up today, if we can, maybe a little diorama out the front of the Avengers Tower. We're going to see if we can add in any more vehicles across here. We're going to see if we can find any more Spidey minifigures to add in onto the roller coaster, because they're all going to be over the floor. That's a different story for a different day, but I'll explain as we go. And then we have got the castle. Now this D&D castle looks brilliant with the dragon on. Those orange wings really do pop. And if you can see it, as we come through, you've then got the haunted house just up in there. So these three together, I really like this corner. This is really starting to grow on me. So if I find any more ghosts or anything like that, then obviously we will add some bits and pieces in. We have got the little character underneath there. Then I've got the little custom build of Michael Myers' house. So that is actually from a different Halloween film, not the original Halloween, but it is actually used in a Halloween film. We do have then some custom sort of horror icons at the front of that, so that's going to be hidden at the back. Do want to do something on this section first before we start doing some little diorama-y bits and pieces. Then it needs a little bit of a tidy because, well, it's a bomb site basically, so I need to pick up some of the boxes, flat pack some of the boxes, and just try and make some space so I can walk back up and down again. But we have done some bits and pieces over behind me as well. So we have got our, what is going to be our Lego Movie 2 Easter eggs. So there's going to be a lot of reference in here. This is exactly what I wanted it to turn out to. So this is the Batman Shadow Box, and I have created basically a car museum and the museum of all the pieces using the Shadow Box up at the top, which is exactly what you get as the walkthrough in all of the walkthroughs that you do around the world. So there is all the different sort of exhibitions and all that kind of thing from Batman. That's where they are. I saw one over in Hollywood, and that was just incredible experience to go around. Saw the tumbler, the Batman, and I saw all the motorbikes and all the outfits and all that kind of thing, all screen used props, so that's pretty cool. And then we will be on the Joker putting that up on the stand with the twisty bit for the actual roller coaster track. And then as we come round and pan round, we have got some Harry Potter Easter eggs. We've got the bank just in there with the diagonal alley just wrapped around, and then it carries on coming down this way. So we have completed 2 tables in a day and a half, 2 days. So far so good, apart from, well, the rest of this. Ninjago, that needs a lot of love and a lot of attention in its own standalone upload. I haven't forgotten about the series, it's just everything else has got in the way. Very messy. There's boxes of stuff absolutely everywhere because, well, I fell through the table and it's a mess. I do need to find some bits and pieces for this, and I want to make a little bit of a pile of the stuff that needs to either be repaired that are in the boxes or I haven't built yet, so they're on display where that castle is. I'm just going to stack them up in there so they're in plain sight, so I can remember just to pull them out, sit down, build some in the evening, because I can just take them downstairs and actually just build them about on there, which is always a nice thing to do. Because I've been spending so long on the Ninjago stuff, I just haven't got anything built. So it's just turning into a bit of a swine with regards to that, because I need the instruction booklet. Still can't find the instruction booklet, but this laptop is now available because it's not uploading anything, it's not rendering anything, it's not doing anything. So if I get a chance later on today, I'll start that. If not, well, it is what it is, but there's boxes everywhere. 1 box, 2 boxes, 3 boxes of just that kind of stuff, and then there's this stuff over there. So there's a lot to do, a lot to mess around with. The only thing that hasn't been touched for ages is our Disney stuff up the top, where we've got the cottage and the castle. Right, with that long-winded introduction out the way, let's get to it. So we will get you placed over here, and I will grab the He-Man castles. I think that's going to look quite smart just here. Now, I can't remember if I mentioned it in the intro or not. The CMF minifigures that are coming out for this, I am going to get them. They probably have already been released, but this is a couple of days before they do get released. So the power of YouTube and everything like that, I am going to be getting them, and I would like to make a little bit of a diorama around here. We could either add the figures onto this thing just here for a little bit of fun, or I was thinking of actually adding the Harry Potter minifigures to here and putting the burrows quite close to here. I was after doing a little bit of research. I think that is just over 8 studs wide. So this does split. As you can tell, I've already attempted to do this once and I actually forgot to hit record. So that was a bit of a schoolboy error, but this does split up for ease, which keeps everything fantastic. So I did forget to hit record, moved it, and then looked and saw the light wasn't moving. So I haven't actually put it over here, but that I think is going to work quite nicely. So that's just the back of it. Ooh, I think that is going to work very, very nicely indeed. Now the inside of that He-Man thing is a Mega Construct set. So it is done by Mega themselves. So they have the license to He-Man, Barbie, and a couple of the other bits and pieces as well. They do have some nice stuff. And they've also got the license to Pokemon as well. So there's a lot of nice things. I do have Snake Mountain. And I think, the texture, the colours and everything, I think that's going to work nice. Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. Thank you very much indeed. So that is what we want. That is going to look great just there. So we're surrounding the dragon with other bits and pieces. So potentially could angle that. I'll just have it facing forward. Could just drop the drawbridge. And yeah, that's fine. I want to keep it quite close to the wing because, like I said, this half of the table basically now, so I want to try and split the table in half. So if I can get Snake Mountain in there, see when Snake Mountain comes in, we're going to have a little bit of a play with it, might have to step it. If I can't make it work there, the easiest thing to do is just put it as a backdrop across the table and it will hide the back. And I can just have this one and the other one side by side. But the Snake Mountain beside that might work quite well. And then what I want to do is have an X-Men section all down here. So we're going to have the Quinjet on top of the X-Men mansion. Nobody knows what it looks like yet, and how many minifigures and things are going to be included, but we'll see. Thinking of putting this little space diner with it, still umming and ahhing about that. I do want to get the robot coaster, so that would hopefully be the thing that fills the gap in across the back. And then if I've got space for it now, the space coaster that is underneath there, I will rebuild it and put it as the drop ride instead. So that's another thing that I'm going to need the laptop for, because I want to try and be able to do something like that. Now, with regards to that, does this actually need to be angled? Does it need to be slightly different? Do we just shut the zone off like that and bring it in like that? Yeah, probably. I think that looks a little bit smarter because you can now see the front. So yeah, I think that's a little bit better because you can just see that a little bit easier. The wing's not as close. It's wrapped around with the wing and the tail. And then, yeah, we've got to see what we can do with Snake Mountain now, because if I can get Snake Mountain to work, that would be quite a cool little thing to do. I could try and get Snake Mountain in on the left-hand side of the Stranger Things and just push these back ever so slightly. But like I said, I do want to try and fit some bits and pieces in there, but with how all of this is and the space that we've got, I think that is looking quite smart. I think that will work. And yeah, the little He-Man reference there, because they've got some really nice characters, it just makes sense because you've got Dungeons and Dragons, He-Man, Stranger Things all together into the Ghostbusters. And then, like I said, we've got something that can go here. Thinking if it is just going to be the Burrow, that would be quite nice. And it would just be a little bit taller, and then you can just see the rest of them. But it is taller than this by 5 inches from the rooftop. So it might cover too much. So it might actually have to go to the back, and then everything gets shimmied up, and then we just have the family walking down the road to the Ferris wheel. It's just little silly things like that. But I'll leave that there. I'll let you guys and girls let me know what you think of that. But I think that does work with regards to the theming. I think that does look quite smart. So that is one thing ticked off for now, which then creates more space, well, over here. Because, as you can tell, we do actually need to sort out some of the little bits and pieces. So we have got, I can see that being the name of this, just sorting out bits and pieces. Spending an hour or two of my life, not actually tidying anything up, just moving stuff about. The Rivendell is looking sorry for itself. Do I pull the Rivendell out and just use that as a display piece? Does it go somewhere else? Does it go in a Kallax, for example, over there? and it does not get put into the theme park whatsoever, because we are going to have the Lord of the Rings eyeball as a bit of an Easter egg just there. We have got plenty of space. Because eventually underneath the tables where the Star Wars stuff is, that's all going to be okay, and we're going to have a bit of fun with that. Now, I could easily expand the Winter Village display. Quite easily, because I could easily get the Home Alone, I say easily, money depending, but you've got the Home Alone house, which would be nice. There's a couple of other bits and pieces which could work in there, it'd be nice. Every year, they obviously release another Winter Village set. It would work well. The treehouse in the corner is going to have some leaves on, so spin that round to, which one spins? So spin that round to be a bit brighter, there we go. So again, you've got the white that pops nicely, and then yes, with the treehouse that's in the corner, put some white leaves on it, and I think you're away. So, as it stands right now, the Jurassic Park makes sense because it's a big theme in all of the Universal rides, and I want it with something. I don't know whether to have the big Harry Potter castle, rebuild the big Harry Potter castle, and just have a row of castles across the back, and then just have that as a bit of theming at the front with the T-Rex sticking its head through. But doing that, there's no actual ride. Whereas this is going to be like our on-site hotel accommodation, which makes sense. This is just the Ninjago city, where obviously you're just going to be doing all the little bits and pieces, and you've got all the water and all the boats. So this is just our city area. So it's just a nice little bit of theming. And 9 times out of 10, when you go to these kind of things, you've got the internal motion simulators and things like that. I know it's a clutch of straws with Ninjago, because there's nothing specific theme park based in that, but it does look fantastic, and it is part of a film. With all of this, we have, like I said at the start, we've wrapped it round, but the Joker is a track, and then that is actual ride. So these two things are part of it, and then that's basically what the theming looks like for this. But up top, the D&D is in a theme park in the start of the TV show, hence the Stranger Things Easter egg as well. The actual haunted house is a drop tower. This is obviously the Ghostbuster Firehouse, but it is actually a shooting ride, a laser shooter, I think it is, in Dubai Parks and Resorts. Then we've got the Red Coaster, we've got the Loop Coaster, we've got the Daily Bugle, which is themed as a ride as well. And then you've got the carousel in the back. And that's before we add in the 2 other rides over there. So there's quite a lot on this side of the table. So I think we can get away with it not being there. But I can't get away with it not being there either. So I need basically some sort of water thing for that back table. I'm not 100% sure what to do. I don't know how to theme it. I don't know what to do with it, because we've got a little bit of sand and things over there. We did have anyway. And then this all needs to be rearranged a little bit. But I think for me to be able to get there better, I just need to tidy up this bit first. So maybe that's what I will do for this bits and pieces upload. I need to clear some space, so maybe I've got to do the Ninjago bit first. Put that up on top, move the laptop, get that underneath the table, flat pack those 2 boxes, start to stack the other little bits and pieces over there, and then basically see what we're left with. So the time lapse is over, and it is actually now a different day, hence the outfit change. I did try and do something and it failed. So I basically got the Harry Potter castle out to see if it would fit, and it doesn't. And yes, there has been changes and moves. All I've done is I've just put these bits out the way so they do not get damaged, because I want to tuck into the Star Wars stuff, see actually what is underneath there, and I needed the table space to do it. Because there is plans in place with regards to what is going to be happening underneath this. I've been saying for a long time, all of this will have to come out for the table to go underneath, because obviously I haven't got any space to do it. So this is now the next bit that we're going to be doing. I was going to try and maybe do it a slightly different way and keep this, but it's just not going to work. So there's a shelf underneath that we will end up painting. Depending on what looks best on the table, will be depending on what display we go for next. But I have got a couple of different ideas. I am going to add in, like, for example, the Snow Trooper battle packs. They're going to go in with this, because I think it'll just be a good little bit of fun. They can go around with the Star Wars stuff. And there's a few other little bits and pieces that I want to add in as some basically Easter eggs for this. Now, another option I've got is I expand it. I just expand the Winter Village because I think it looks so, so good, and we do keep coming round up to a certain point. Or the bigger models come up onto the top, which is what is going to have to happen anyway, because I want to get it all prepped and ready, and then the tables can start going underneath. So that's not too much of a problem. So I've got a little bit of time to think. But what we're going to do is we're going to get some of this stuff out now. You're going to have a look at it, see what it looks like with regards to spacing and all that kind of thing. And you can let me know if it's worth keeping that up on top. Do I expand the Winter Village? Does the Winter Village go down and something else goes up top? Because the problem is I've got is the ceiling height. Could potentially put the Ninjago here against the back blue wall, and we could then just expand, well, quite a lot with regards to the Monkey Kid and Ninjago up top, because I think it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Doing that would then give me one table up top basically for this space display. So I have got a few different bits, because this looks so neat and tidy, and we are starting to get there, and we know what we're going to be doing with that. All of this that has just been thrown here is just going to be temporary until I can quickly get the table. So it's going to be done within probably a week, maybe 2 weeks of this, what we're about to do now. So I don't want that to be messy up there. The He-Man castle, like I said, is going to stay there. And then we're going to figure out what we're going to do with the Snake Mountain. So the Snake Mountain is this thing just here, and it does look very, very good indeed. And I think that bit of purple looks very, very clean beside it. Now, we have got other options as well. I was speaking to Mr. J's Toy Collectors in UK, and we were bouncing ideas around about what else could I put up here. Now, we have got, I say we, because it's the royal we, a lot of other smashed sets that were underneath the table when I fell through the Ninjago table, and that was all the architecture sets. And if you remember, I was in the process of making a mini land for the minifigures, which is a huge part excuse me, of all of the Legoland parks. And they will be roughly the same size as this. So we can either wrap it round as a mini land up here, get some slightly bigger sets, smaller sets and whatever, and then this stuff just goes back underneath. But this stuff is so big, like for example that thing is so big, it does not work on here. I don't know if it's going to work on a table. I think it will do when it all gets lit up, because don't forget it's all been painted all across the back. But there is some bits and pieces to pull out and some bits and pieces to do. So we are going to basically get these out, put a mock-up display in just to see, would it work, would this work, would that work? And then more than likely the next upload from this one will be the tables being unpacked, going in, and then the title of it will be making a whatever display. But I have got plans of wanting to finish these zones off first while just tinkering with this end, because I think we are getting somewhere. So it's like just this little corner, but we could get 3 tables underneath, maybe 5 tabletops underneath, because it would just be one of these. Now I have got one, so I can place it down and see what it looks like for space. Just depends on what bit we're going to do. So that is more than enough waffling, more than enough. So we are just going to bring some bits and pieces up. Now I know this is going to be rough, but I still want to do it half decent, and this Harry Potter thing is in the way. Now I'm not going to bore you by putting it back, because I've got to pull all the table out, because that box was in there, and that's actually where the architecture sets is. So what I will do is when I get the architecture sets out, just to see how badly damaged they are, the Harry Potter castle can go back. So for now, it's just going to get thrown underneath one of the other tables. Say thrown, you know what I mean. And it can just stay there, because this thing really is, well, it's enormous, isn't it? Let's be honest, this thing is huge. Really, really nice detail. It is beautiful, but I just don't think it's going to work. I think it is just too badly damaged. Now, it's got to go, I'm just holding this like a pizza at the moment. It's got to go somewhere, because I need it out of the way. And we will put it just down here for now. And then we've got all these Ninjago boxes because we've got 3. 1 there, 2 underneath, where we can do bits and pieces with. This box, oh yeah, which is the rest of the Harry Potter stuff, can go up here. Found a load of minifigures. I've got all of that kind of thing that I want to go over with you, so potentially we'll do that after this part. It'll just be a different day for me. Now, if we're going to go space up here, I think what we're going to have to do is merge the bits and pieces with regards to Star Wars and some of the Marvel stuff. And obviously that's why the space coaster has come back. The other coaster will go over there. Now, the reason why I started to build that up, if you remember, I dropped it straight down the loft latch, didn't I? Down the hatch, down the stairs, it went absolutely everywhere. And I am still finding pieces for it because I think some bits went behind the table that way, so I can't get them just yet. But I think 1 or 2 pieces are actually behind this Kallax. So that's another reason I want to see if we can do something with it, because it is together, but it's not complete. So it looks all right, kind of. But if you have one of these and you're thinking, oh, it doesn't quite look right, it's because it's not right. It's not right at all. So we will be, in another upload sooner rather than later, doing lots and lots of Dio displays, or the minifigures and things. I know I said something along those lines yesterday with what we're going to be doing, but this has taken a turn quite quickly, and I want to get these in and just basically see what we can do. So, because there we go, because we have a bit of sand over there, which are these sets just here, we could try and do a bit of a silly thing with the cantina and have it all on a sandy base and just have it merged in, because you've got your bait shop, which is basically water, obviously, which, well, that out of the 2 is the one that's not going to work. The chain, the Coffee Unchained, which is the Apocalypseburg, will work fine, because I have got this just here. Now, annoyingly, before I turned the camera on, a bit fell off, and I started to panic a little bit because I couldn't see it for the life of me. And now I've opened my eyes, well, it's directly in front of me, so it's fine. Now, all of the new wave Star Wars stuff comes with really nice, cool minifigures, so we could have quite a nice minifigure display on here. Now, obviously this thing is, well, it's tiny. I say tiny in the nicest way possible, because it's not the highest of things, and you'll see what I mean in a second when the next ship comes out. So we are, so that's a speeder bike, got all sorts of troopers, nice minifigures and stuff in here. So there's a lot of stuff, but because we've got a bar, we could have a calf as well. Now, I just don't know which way to put it, because this thing is quite long. It could, again, this is only supposed to be rough, but I do want to try and make some sort of effort with it. When it opens up properly, like so, we could have it like that. Now, it's so badly out of proportion with everything else. This thing is their Master Series range, so it's not the UCS scale. It's minifigure scale. I guess it's like the Harry Potter Collector's Edition scale, where it's minifigure, but it's not enormous. And then this is my worry. This is my only worry with this cantina, because I don't want it to be swallowed. So we can put it maybe at the front and do something nice with it. We will see, but we'll see what it looks like with, for the spacing, because we have got 1 or 2 other tan bits. We've got some Guardians of the Galaxy ships, which are massive. They are absolutely enormous. So let's just get these off. We've got the gaming truck underneath here, which is a nice thing. We have got some Winter Villagey stuff underneath here. That's why it needs a really good sort out over in this corner, because there's a lot of just, well, stuff And that's what happens when you run out of room quite quickly. It's just a lot of stuff. Now, obviously, the original one of these with the original team is available now. Now this thing is huge, but now it looks like it's in scale with everything else, because this thing is so big. It's got so much detail with regards to all the different bits and pieces that it can do and hold and house, and it's got all the other people there. So it's got some nice bits and pieces in it. So with a bit of a quick clean, I think we should be good. Now the whole team is somewhere. Where the team is at the moment, I have absolutely no idea, because I thought the minifigures were in here, but clearly they're not. So I will end up getting all the minifigures around the stand. Now you can see, if I was to do that on the stand, that is how big that is compared to, well, the cantina. But we could potentially have a row of ships at the back. So why don't we start with that? Let's push this back. Bring this in. Because I do want to see if it will work up here, because when I get the tables in, by that point I want to have made a decision of what would be best. So are we going to go for a museum type thing, which I have always spoken about, or are we going to do something slightly different? Now, this does turn, I can't remember. I can't remember how you turn it. Yeah, there you go. That's simple. So you can have it flying up. It's got a lot of playability with it, because you can see, you can open all the wings with it, you can display it really nicely, you can have it sort of flying around and basically doing whatever. But the wings on this are quite large. So with it like that, I think that might be the best angle for it. We've got the wing at the back, that bit, these bits move as well, and it's just a nice bright colour. Obviously I like bright colours. I just don't know. So I get some more of these up here. I don't know if I'm going to be sold with it or not. No, the next thing is enormous, and it's a shame that it's underneath here. It's silly that it's underneath here. I could have some of the smaller ships dangling down from the shelf. So this N1, for example, that could just be here above it. So that instantly now, if you start to add some layers to this, that I can see working. But I'm going to have a run of ships across the top to make this as like a floating museum going across the top. How we suddenly added in these townhouses, and it gives us that sort of really nice feel of a theme park, but it's still that kind of theming. That going across underneath. Now the Razor Quest is obviously, well, I haven't got a clue. It's smashed. You got all got damaged, and loads of stuff got damaged. So I don't actually know what is still built, but that is a possibility. So that could go with that, because, well, it's kind of what it does. Now the next, it's the big one that's got to come out next. The Republic gunship needs to come out next. Oh, better known as the balls. So, oh, the balls. So that is going over there. That's going over there. This is a right pain to move. Actually remember the best way of picking this up, to be honest. I can't remember. I genuinely cannot remember the best way of picking this up while it's on the stand. I've got a funny feeling you've got to take it off the stand. I've got the wing, as a normal, caught behind this one table. I concentration face. Oh dear. I feel the stand breaking in my... God, that's got some weight to it. So that is next level massive. Look at the size of that. That thing is absolutely enormous. So that now towers... Well, that's... Yeah, there's no point of even me attempting to put these out and display neatly because I just don't think it's going to fit. I think these things are just going to be too big. The wingspan of that's as far, that's to the edge of the table, and that's to the wall. So this thing really is huge. Of course, if we just kept it like the other, we could have it in a straight line. I think it has to be about there, I think. Can't raise it up any higher than that. I can't go back any further to the wall because it's got guns on the back of it and it's hitting the brickwork. So that's big. That is big. This, well, that's massive. It does look smart though. Oh, just broke the ball off the front. No. So all of that, hang on, let me slot it back in. There we go. Penetration. So we are in, done. I like the green. It's bright colours. It looks cool. Just don't know if it's going to work. And bearing in mind it's right beside a Winter Village display as well. Will it be better on the tables underneath? God, that is huge. That is huge. This is, again, the reason why I'm doing it. It's all got to come up anyway. It's all got to come up. Some of the stuff I can just put on the shelf. What else have we got underneath here? We've got that one. That underneath here. Again, this isn't exactly the smallest of things, but it looks like an ant compared. But again, if we can display it like that, for example, because the other one that's out is the same size of that, isn't it? The Minalo, that is out, I do believe it's called. Absolutely no way that roller coaster is going to work for love of money with that massive thing though. I do quite like the look of this though. That underneath works. I think that'd look quite nice just there. But I'm not too sure if I'm clutching at straws to make this work within this section. And this is why, as you saw before that I added in, I didn't want to waste your time with the Harry Potter castle. I did all of this kind of stuff, spent ages, and it's just not going to work. Now, again, if this comes off, if that got spun round and comes from the angle, the wingspan, it's mind-blowing how big that thing is. If I can make it work, it'd be different, but everything else is starting to look so clean with how we've got like that little bit in and everything else. This, I just don't want this to just be random ships. I'm gonna have to try and do like little dios around it or something. But the cantina looks completely lost. I don't think the Marvel ships are gonna work there. They're too, I can't believe we had the Rivendell up on there and it looked empty. I've put in 2 ships and it looks too busy. So credit to this thing, because this thing really is, well, it's massive. Amazing, but absolutely massive. Yeah, I'm stumped again. This has been one of those really weird and random uploads where I'm a bit stuck. Like really stuck, because underneath here we've got the cheeky monkey swing, and then we've got this space. We've got the space rides. We have got 2 rides for space things. Now, obviously, if it would fit, what would look effective is the Ghost and the Falcon stood up underneath the shelf against the blue, because they're like flat pizza dishes, aren't they? So they're your slices of, yeah, whatever. So that could potentially work there. I just don't know if it would actually work there. I don't know if this is just an optical illusion where it feels like it's got more space underneath here. Obviously, with it when it's all lit up and nice, because you could easily sit down and see it. Because if this goes up top, then the Rivendell will have to go underneath. I don't know what looks visually more imposing. And again, I said about the Ninjago could come here. The Rivendell could come over here with the Jurassic Park gates, and we could put like a park and things in there. And you walk through the Jurassic Park gates, you sit on the benches, and that's our picnicky type area, again, clutching at straws with that. But that would take a table. And that's the right shape. And then this could be Ninjago Monkey Kid with it ready for expansion. And then what goes underneath the table is the Miniland and the Star Wars. I don't know. I don't know. I am truly stumped. So I will have to have a think. But at the same time, the rest of this needs to come up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wrap it up, because the plan is this is all going to come up, and then it just needs a tidy. So I'm not going to bore you with moving all of these bits and pieces. I'm going to get all of this kind of stuff prepped, because we can go through the boxes quickly, because we've got some loads different Star Wars battle packs. We can make some dioramas and bits and pieces up on there. Add all the minifigures and all that kind of thing in, so we can make a battle with this. So again, that is potentially an option. That's the thing now, the whole thing falls off. And try and do it as a walkthrough like they had at the Legoland Park. Because I guess I could have Star Wars on the one side and I could have the Marvel spaceships on the other. And if I can try and create a footpath around the top. I just don't know if it looks more visually impressive up here, even though I don't know if it works. Because I can see all the bits and pieces up, because I can see it now from all the different angles. Whereas with it being up on there, it's too high. But if it was on the floor, I don't know if I'd get the same. I'd have like an aerial view of it then. It is my brain versus the display, but I've only got to empty that bit out, which doesn't have much in, so you can see it's just got a little bit more bits and pieces in. We've got a little bit of space ride, and then it's just that. Plonk them on the shelf, and then I've just got to tidy up underneath this side, and then just keep sort of wrapping around. So there's plenty of bits and pieces to tidy up, which I will do off camera, because I'm not going to go to another time lapse and bore you all. But you let me know if it should go up top or underneath. I think, what do you think would be visually better? Because obviously I can make a full-blown walkthrough attraction, loads of photo opportunities, and like a museum type thing, because it would be a parallel walkthrough attraction like we are in the process of doing for the Batman. So put the Batman vehicles and stuff in, and visually that looks fantastic. But I just don't know if we can do the same thing like we've done there over with this. And we will go from that line all the way over to that line, have the cantina as a bar. That will have to come out. That can stay there because that looks brilliant through. Well, it just looks good there, so that can just stay. That can be the coffee. That can be the coffee place. That's the bar. There'll be one ship to get, which is the Milano. That would look nice staggered. I don't need to add any other ships in really. I've got a couple of them underneath here, but they can all go into storage or be used for parts or whatever like that. So yeah, I think the better thing to do is just see when the tables are in, which has just been a complete waste of my time, your time, and everybody's time. But guys, that is it, and I am done. I was going to end the video there, but we are a couple of days on, and I have had time to think about it, and I've actually managed to get some sleep. So that is going to stay. This is going to stay there. somewhere on this table. That will stay up here. This will move, that will move. That is now not going to be part of the display. And we're going to add in a form of roller coaster around this and just put a load of tan plates down and have it as a Star Wars section, because this is the biggest thing that makes the most use of the space underneath this shelf, and everything else we can make a diorama around. And then if these ships out the way, it won't look like the cantina has been swallowed. So that is going to be the plan of attack. Obviously, still in the next upload, we're going to have to start by picking all of these bits and pieces up and figuring out what is going to go where. All the tan stuff can be used. All the other ships for now can just go on the shelf at the back. That's going to be used in the display as well, because that is needed. And then some of the smaller vehicles will just then get dotted around, going into their zones and basically where they need to go. That then opened up the next thing to do, because there is just a huge amount of space underneath this, because obviously this is in front of the shelf, whereas if I pushed it all the way back to the wall, we do have a good amount of space. So the tape measure will be coming out in the next upload, and we're going to see how many tables we can actually get underneath, because I think if we could potentially get 3 tables going that way, because I think we've measured it from the orange to here. You'll get 3 and they'll come to here, which is absolutely fine. So we just lose a little bit of floor space, but I don't stand that close anyway. Might be able to get 2 more facing forward underneath, or going full width underneath, which would then give us basically the double surface area for Ninjago. Ninjago could go just underneath this bit. It would all be lit up underneath, and that gives us our future expansion. So that is the plan. Stick with it. Then the Rivendell comes onto this table up top, and then we just merge it with the Jurassic Park gates somehow to start with, because there's no other way of doing it. But that also then does leave us 3, hopefully 3 tables of tabletop space for something. So either the Rivendell then goes underneath when those tables arrive, and we make dioramas underneath there, and then the architecture sets come out on this table here, and it's just our mini land. So that is basically the plan of attack, and it will be a case of tidy as we go. So the next upload will be getting this monstrosity out, getting this tabletop down to see what it's like for space. Then I can stack all of the units on the one. Hopefully I've got another tabletop in the shed, which then means I can put the Ninjago stuff just beside it, so nothing's going to get mixed up. Clear the floor as we come out. That's this bit done. This bit then, all of the Star Wars stuff can just get picked up and go into the corner. We can go in through all the battle packs and then try and get the tan base plates down. So that's that bit done. And then it would just be a case of pick up the Rivendell, put it back on this table, and basically throw it there for now. So everything's where it needs to be. And then I can carry on with the dioramas, which is, I think, how this video was supposed to have started a few days back. But I told you, it's always a disaster and it is always crazy. So there is a very interesting, fun episode to come that will be following this one, because like I said, I'm going to start in the next day or 2 by getting this out, picking it all up, trying to get that roller coaster either repaired or just customize it, or see if I can find something different to go around this. It's either a case it goes underneath it or it goes over the top, because I can raise it up a little bit, but you haven't got much to raise it from, because it is very, very tall indeed. So yes, we will figure that out, and then we will see basically what space is left, and do we just then plow it with more diorama stuff and just fill out a diorama, or do we just get something else and do a half and half display? Do we just change the color of the base plate? Do we have it green? Do we have it tan? Do we have it gray? Whatever. But until it's all in, and I think the fact that that is sandy color as well, and we can have a coffee house at the one part, that potentially could go at the other. I'm tempted just to tan all of this and then get the walkers and everything in, and then just go from there and make it the ride. That would be a really simple thing to do. I've got it all, and I just want it to look nice, because what I don't want is now having to go 3 steps backwards and then start having stuff like we always do, because it was the same day, which bugged me a little bit. I got all this really neat and tidy, and then literally the same day pulled this off, and because I got nowhere to put it, I thought, well, yes, tables underneath, that'll be fine. IKEA trip is obviously going to have to happen. That all might happen in the next upload, or this mini series will just continue. So technically this is the end of mini-series number 4 of a full redo within the Disaster series. It's very complicated to keep up with. But guys, that is it, and I am done. So there's lots of new bits and pieces to happen in the next upload. Like I said, there's a good plan of attack. This will be built because it's in the way, so I will have to build that up and put it behind the Castle Grayskull, which will look fantastic with a nice little bit of purple over there. And then we can start making some other diorama based stuff. Got to figure out what we're going to do with that space calf. We could just merge it in with the cantina, or maybe just put it somewhere completely different. I think it'd be quite nice to have its own theming for the Star Wars stuff, because there's obviously Star Wars lands in Disney. You know, we're adding in Easter eggs to here, but you can clearly tell that it's a winter village. I don't want to kind of lose its identity of what that is going to be. But again, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Take care and I'll catch you next one. Ta-da.